But here's the thing. If you are a Terrence Bud Crawford fanboy, then all that mess you were talking about Errol Spence beating Kell Brook, all of that needs to go. You need to go shh.
Hi, this is Joe Cortez. You're watching ShowBizz, The Adult.
Oh, this is Bernard Hopkins, ShowBizz, The Adult. I'm out.
Oops, up off net. Terrence Crawford done shut me up. Up off net. Terrence Crawford, he done shut me up. I'll tell you that. All the little criticisms I had about Terrence Crawford, what did he do at welterweight? I ain't seen him fight anybody at welterweight. He done stopped all that noise. He done shut all that up because he's about to take on a welterweight. And I'm talking about a big welterweight, a big talented welterweight in Kell Brook. A guy who only lost to Triple G and Errol the True Spence. And I want to say this. I've given Errol Spence all the credit in the world for taking on Kell Brook. When everybody was talking about Kell Brook was damaged goods because he got his orbital bone broke by Triple G. And Errol the True Spence broke his other orbital bone. I gave Errol the True Spence all the credit in the world because that Errol the True Spence that beat him was hungry. After Errol the True Spence beat Kell Special K Brook, I said that guy's the best welterweight in the world. And he ended up being the #1 welterweight in the world. So Terrence Crawford taking on Kell Brook. I ain't taking none from Terrence Crawford. What's up, my people? This is ShowBizz, the adult. All right, man, look. So Terrence Bud Crawford is going to fight Kell Special K Brook November 14th. Whoops. All right, man, look. First, I want to say this. Look, the year 2020, this terrible year of 2020 is rounding off amazingly for boxing fans here. What do we have? Tomorrow we have the Charlos, okay, that doubleheader. Jamel Charlo versus Rosario, Jamal Charlo versus Sergey Derevchenko. We got stuff like Lomachenko taking on Teofimo Lopez. We got Devin Haney fighting. We got Errol the True Spence versus Danny Swift Garcia. We got stuff like Alexander Usyk versus Derek Chisora. What else we got? Deontay the Bronze Bomber Wilder versus Tyson the Gypsy King Fury 3. I mean, we got a ton of fights. And you throwing this fight in there, Terrence Bud Crawford versus Kell Special K Brook come November 14th. Come on, man. Ring the Tyson bell on that one right there. Let's go. This is one heck of a time to be a boxing fan. ShowBizz the mug, if you don't get your black, 2 sugars. But I want to say this as well. You guys saw that I did the video on Big Boy yesterday for blaming his failed drug test on a sex pill. Well, Big Boy Miller, he didn't like that so much. He jumped on my Instagram and he called me corny. And you guys know, in this community, we're not going to just not respond. So ShowBizz the adult said, yeah, I'm corny and I'm fully functional. Stay up, champ, if you can. And that's the Black Ant. 2 sugar. No, okay, look. Look, all jokes aside, look here, big baby. You're going to get trolled for that, man. What you should probably do right now, man, is pull a Muhammad Ali against George Foreman, lean on the ropes, and let us, as media, just punch ourselves out on you, okay? People are going to forget about this by the weekend when the Charlos fight and Adesanya takes on Costa. Nobody's going to think about your sex life and how that interrupted your boxing career. Black, 2 sugars. So look, this is the fight I've been waiting for many reasons. You guys heard me before say on a video a while back saying that Kell Special K Brook is the perfect opponent for Terrence Bud Crawford because Terrence Bud Crawford, he wants Errol the True Spence. And Team Spence, they've said many times, we got to build up this fight. You've heard Derek James say that on a few occasions. And it's the way of the boxer. If you want a certain opponent, you have to take on like opponents. Manny Pacquiao was good for that. When winning that fight against Floyd Money Mayweather, they had many shared opponents. Hell, in the buildup of Hearns versus Hagler, their biggest argument when they were talking to each other was how one fared against a like opponent in Roberto Duran. That is the boxing way. So Terence Crawford accepting that Kell Brook fight was perfect. This is an opportunity for Terence Crawford to beat Kell Brook worse than Errol the True Spence did. And for boxing fanboys out there on both sides, this fight should make you go shh. Why? Because if you're a fanboy of Errol the True Spence and you want everybody to credit Errol the True Spence for taking on and beating Kell Brook for the IBF title, then there's nothing you can say about Terence Bud Crawford taking on Kell Brook. And I know you're going to try to say, well, Kell Brook, he's been gone for a while. No, he hasn't. The guy's been pretty active. He had a little slump and he's back on his feet. Hell, I remember doing a video telling Kell Brook, don't retire, man. Keep your head up. Keep swinging. And Kell Brook responded to me, this community, when this community was very small. Kell Brook responded, I'm not going to retire, ShowBizz. Don't worry about it. But here's the thing. If you are a Terence Bud Crawford fanboy, then all that mess you were talking about Errol Spence beating Kell Brook, all of that needs to go. You need to go shh. Because if you want Terence Bud Crawford to get respect for taking on Kell Brook November 14th, then you better start giving Errol the True Spence his respect for beating Kell Brook. That's the problem with being a fanboy, because you can never sit in your truth. It's best to be a fan of boxing. And as for me, my biggest criticism about Terence Bud Crawford was this. He never fought anybody that can give him a real go. His biggest win was Gamboa, and he was way too big, way too talented, way too in his prime. And Gamboa, though talented, he was small, and he just wasn't able to physically compete with a talented and very skillful and far bigger fighter in Terence Bud Crawford. So though Terence Bud Crawford got some pretty good guys on his resume, they weren't on his level. And I've criticized Terence Bud Crawford for that, saying, hey man, you haven't fought anybody who can really push you. That's why I always said Errol Spence versus Bud Crawford, that's a close fight. Danny Garcia versus Crawford, that should be a close fight. Sean Porter versus Crawford, that should be a tough fight. Keith Thurman versus Crawford, that should be a tough fight. Manny Pacquiao versus Crawford, that should be a tough fight. And this Kell Brook versus Crawford, Kell Brook only losing to one welterweight who happens to be the #1 welterweight in the world, Errol the True Spence, the same Kell Brook who beat Showtime Sean Porter. That Kell Brook versus Terence Bud Crawford, a very tough fight. Let me know how you feel in the comments below. ShowBizz the Adult, I'm out. Huh.